Bannerlord version 1.7.0 has just hit the beta branch, and it brings a ton of new changes to the game. The battle terrain system, the order of battle system, which allows you to pre-deploy all of your units, and a ton of other things. One of the big standouts, though, is the new skill perks for the charm skill tree. In this, you'll be able to absolutely break certain portions of the game in a great way. So in this video today, we're going to talk about the brand new charm tree, or charm skill perk tree. We're going to go through it together. I'm going to talk about some of the ones I feel really stand out over the others, the kind of specific use cases, or how you can actually synergize a lot of these together and make them work in tandem. Now, in my typical fashion of upfronting the knowledge in this video, the big focus of this video is the final perk in the charm tree. It is going to allow you to generate influence at +1 per day for every skill point over a certain threshold, right? I believe it's 250. And that just gets so strong. And you'll find that you can simply just sign up onto a mercenary contract and you can have your character just stay put, and they will constantly be generating money because they're constantly generating influence. Remember, mercenary contracts are based upon the amount of influence you're getting per day. And that influence will then come back to you as gold. So you're going to find that with the ability to fine-tune your influence intake from the charm tree, or doing a lot of other things with renown buffing and so on and so forth, that the new charm skill tree line is just so essential. And it really was before. Most people went down the charm line because it was so important to the persuasion portion of the game, which enables you to get wives, so on and so forth. So you'll find today that this is a very strong, really good skill perk tree. So we're going to go ahead and switch now into the game. This is a snippet from one of my streams where I said, like, hey, I'm going to record this. So if it looks a little out of place, or it's kind of funky because it looks weird because it's a stream, just ignore that. The information is still valid. But as always, guys, if you do enjoy the video, please don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe. I cannot tell you how much that helps. But let's now switch on over to Bannerlord to talk about that new charm skill tree perk line. So now that we've jumped into the game here, we can see the entire new charm tree. And this one has got a lot of good things going for it. If you've just jumped onto version 1.7.0, you might look at these padlocks and think, oh man, it's not active. The way that they've done things now is if there's any skill perk that is inactive, even if it's a portion of that, it'll say currently inactive, not currently implemented, whatever the nomenclature is or whatever, it'll just denote it. It'll tell you up front that, hey, it doesn't work right now. But anything that you see with a padlock just denotes that the art is not ready. And let's go through here how charm is a very, not necessarily broken skill line, but it's going to be one that you want to focus on any and all of your characters. Like I've said before, it is something that you wanted to focus on in the past, but for different reasons. Now it is just so strong from a base mechanic all the way into its perks. And taking a look at that base mechanic here, we can see that, as we know, charm, it increases by improving relations with people, socializing with nobles, and doing barters. But as you increase your relation with these NPCs, it's going to increase that a number by 143% because of my astronomically high charm skill. Now, what I mean by that is anytime you gain relation by, say, doing a specific issue, by doing a prison break, by freeing anyone, by saying, hey, by beating them in combat and releasing them, you're going to now get 143% more. So charm increases the amount of relationship that you're getting from whatever action it is. And that's why that is important on, like I said, just a base level. Now, going through these actual skill perks here, let's take a look at them. And some of them haven't changed. Like these have not changed at all. But these little guys, like Self-Promoter, gain 5 influence by winning a tournament. You gain 1 morale in a besieged settlement, followed here by Virile, which is going to increase 30% more likely to have a child, and 10% chance to get 1 relation with a random notable in a governed settlement per day, with continuous projects are active. Now, of course, we're looking at the fact that this is for a governor. That's not as great. And if you don't want to have a ton of children, that's not even really that cool of a perk. But this first one can be very good, especially in the beginning, because it helps you out with getting some influence, which is different than renown, and it helps out with some morale when you're besieged. I think this kind of comes down to whatever one you would want to pick if you want more children or influence. I'll go with Viral because it's funny. Now, the next one here is when we start to get into some spicy stuff already. And this is just the level 50 skill bracket here. So Oratory, gain 1 renown and influence for each issue resolved. Now, an issue would be any kind of quest on the map, more or less. Every time you defeat an enemy lord party, you gain one relationship with a random notable of your faction. So that can be strong to get a lot of relationship going, but I like this one a lot here. So Warlord, increase influence gain from battles by 30%. Every time you defeat an enemy lord party, you gain one relationship with a random lord of your faction. So we're gonna go Warlord here, and I'll explain how this all kind of comes together in the end. Don't you worry about that. Next up here, we have Forgivable Grievances, which is going to give you a 20% chance to avoid persuasion critical failure and a 5% per day chance to increase relations with a random NPC of negative relations with you within the settlement. And we have the counterpoint of this, which is 10% better chance for double persuasion. So I personally, I like this. I like the double persuasion, sorry. Increasing my odds to get double persuasion is nicer. In Bloom, increase any relationship with gain with opposite gender by 20%, or young and respectful, which is gain from the same gender by 20%, and then 2% chance, so on and so forth. So I would say this kind of depends upon where you are in your campaign. Are you going to be dealing with a lot of lords that you want to bring into your kingdom to help bolster the ranks of your clans within your kingdom? Maybe you want to go same gender if you're playing a male character, because there tends to be more male minor clan leaders and minor clansmen. If you are looking for a wife, In Bloom is not going to hurt you, or if you're looking for just a spouse in general, because you're getting that bonus to the opposite gender. Let's say I want to build a kingdom out, so I'm going to go young and respectful. Now, for Firebrand, we get 50% less influence cost to initiate kingdom decisions. That is very nice when you are making your own kingdom and you want to make those kingdom decisions. You don't have to spend as much influence, but to be totally honest with you, by the time you actually are doing that, you probably are rolling in influence, and you're going to find that by the time we go through this skill tree, you will have so much influence. I don't find that one's necessarily as useful, but you do get the increased recruitment level from rural notables by +1. And what that really means is when you approach a notable, you're going to be able to increase their recruitment level by 1 so that any of their recruitment pool is a little bit better. And rural notables are anyone that are inside of villages versus the towns, right? So a town versus a city, the small little settlements is what I'm trying to say. You have a bunch of different names for them as far as like what people have called them. So the small little villages out and about. But you also get 30% less influence cost when voting for proposals made by other people. So if you are playing as a vassal and you want to stay as a vassal and eventually become the ruler of a kingdom, this might be the one you go for because it makes it so that voting into any of those situations is a little bit easier. Increase recruitment level from urban notables by 1. So recruiting directly from a city itself. I'm going to go here with Firebrand because I like rural notables a little bit more. Effort for the people. When you clear a hideout, you gain 3 relation with the nearest town owner clan. If it is you, increase town loyalty by 1. Reduce item barter penalty with the lords of the same culture with you by 25%. And then hiring mercenaries is 20% cheaper, and reduce item barter penalty with lords of the different cultures with you for 10%. So again, if you're doing a lot of hideouts, go ahead and go with this one. I don't find hiring mercenaries to be particularly beneficial because I almost never touch mercenaries. So I would go with effort for the people for myself. When voting for a proposal you support fails, recover 100% of the influence spent, which is so good. Especially when you're playing through that portion of the game where you're dealing with a lot of vassal stuff, where castles are changing hands, people are voting on who gets castles and towns and what have you. You're trying to say maybe choose or try to get rid of a certain kingdom decision, whatever it is. That is such a nice boon because you can vote 100, go for the biggest one and get all of it back if it fails, which is so nice. Gain additional relation when you increase relationship with merciful lords. So again, you're looking at these things here. That would be a merciful lord. And then lastly, we've got tribute increases relationship bonus by 20% chance when paying more than enough in barters. Gain additional relation when you increase relationship with cruel lords. I personally find this good-natured one to be really strong, really good. You can really game the system though with tribute. And this kind of starts to get into why the charm skill is so strong here. Increase relationship bonus by 20% chance when paying more than enough in barters. So you can basically do 1 dinar more and you get a bonus on it. So it can be a possible broken system and something that could possibly get patched away. I would choose good natured for myself because I like the fact that I can do the support fail, but that tribute one is very, very strong. And I definitely be mindful of it. Moving into morale leader, we get characters in your own faction require 1 less persuasion success, followed by characters in other factions require 1 less persuasion success. What does that mean? And this one is really good. So you know how when you have to persuade someone, you have to get 3 checks of success, right? Like if you're trying to find yourself a wife, you have to go through 3 different conversations, each one doing 3 persuasion success chances, right? And if you get a critical, let's get 2. If you get critical failure, you screw the whole thing up. Well, if with this one, with natural leader, this reduces that from a 3 to a 2. You only have to get 2 success chances, but you get 3 tries at it. That is really nice. So I'm going to go with the other faction one because this allows me to bring people into my kingdom if I so wish. Also, your companions gain 20% more leadership. That is stupid strong because now remember your companions can go and lead armies. You can raise them up to become actual nobles in your clan. So this is a good way to basically jack them full of experience and then send them about their way. Morale leader, not as helpful for you because it's, the other portion of it is if you're a governor and it's your main character, so it's not going to work. Natural leader here. Coming into the final ones, we get when you are waiting in your settlement, they get 5 loyalty bonus. We've already had this one before. And then this one, renown gain from battles are increased by 30%. So that one is just an auto pick for me. And then camaraderie, you gain double relation with the Lord when you aid them in battle, which is, again, great, and increases your companion limit by 1. Now, here it is. The reason the charm line can be stupid strong right now. And it's not just solely all of this working in conjunction, you can see really works together. But with Immortal Charm, every 5 skills, after 250, you gain 1 influence point per day. And it already requires you to be above 275 to get this. So, when you take a look at that, so that's going to give me, being 25 skill, 275 to do this, that gives me 5 influence per day. And with Immortal Charm, plus Warlord, which increases my influence from battles by 30%, I'm going to be getting so much influence that if I'm a mercenary, and you get paid based off of the amount of influence you've got, it is a stupid way to make a lot of money. In addition to, it's just going to give you a ton of influence to do any kingdom decisions, anything you want to do as a vassal, whatever it is. And on top of it now, with this one too, I'm going to also be earning more renown. So my clan rank is going to go up quicker as well. Those things all working in conjunction are just so strong. And even these skills that I did not choose, they're not necessarily bad by any stretch of the imagination. Gain 5 influence by winning a tournament. I could have gone with this one and just stacked the amount of influence I was getting, that even as a mercenary, I was still making a ton of money off of the influence gain. Or Parade here, when you are waiting in your settlements, they get 5 loyalty bonus. You can really get a lot of loyalty bonus from that. And on top of it, 5% chance per day to gain 1 relation with a random lord in the same army. So you can have an army and just start gaining a ton of relation. So the new charm skill, the new charm perk line is stupid good. And it's something that I think that every character that you're playing through in Bannerlord, if you weren't already, it's something that you should be really focusing on now, because you can just get off in such an, like, you can get off real crazy. Like, you can just go off in a crazy way here because of the amount of influence you can gain, the amount of money that you can get from it, and all the other new perks that come with the charm line. So hopefully this gives you a better idea of how the new charm line that was added in 1.7.0 can help you in your next playthrough of Bannerlord, and how it can be a pretty broken thing if you approach it in a certain light. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching here today. If you have any questions, your experiences with the charm line, whatever it is, let it be known in the comment section below. Always love to break out as much information into the community as I can. But as always, have a good one and take care.